This is From Destruction to Dignity with Janice Pons. Each week, Janice shares her wisdom to enlighten, educate, and advance the culture in America today. Janice Pons is a mother, author, and free thinker, and your host for our podcast this evening. Now let's join your host, Janice Pons.
Greetings, greetings, greetings. Come on in. Welcome, welcome, welcome. My name is Janice Pons. I am the host on our podcast, From Destruction to Dignity, Clinical Perspective, Spiritual Truths. Guys, we're going to continue on this journey. You know what we do in this community. We dissect things. We talk about everything because there's a lot to talk about. The closer we get to this election in November, the more things are going to heat up. And we need to understand perspectives, frameworks. We need to know who, what, when, where, how, and why. So having said that, you know, we're going to keep praying for our nation. We got our flag behind us. There it is. I love the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag, yes. Yes, of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And we have our presidential seal to remind us to pray for the president of our nation, the leadership thereof, the cabinet, Capitol Hill. Pray for our leadership. I pray that they have dreams. I pray that they get these erroneous thinking patterns that some of them have, that they have a wake-up call. I remember when I had mine. So let's just keep moving. Yes, and I was like, wait a minute. That doesn't line up with my beliefs as a believer. That doesn't line, that right there, I can't do it. I can't do it anymore. That's part of my testimony. And more of those kinds of stories are coming out. Why? People are using basic logic and deductive reasoning. So having said that, that's a perfect segue into what we're gonna talk about tonight. So we're gonna examine something tonight that there's a lot of discussion about irresponsible leadership. Now that's a lot of talking about irresponsible leadership, and our clinical perspective is protecting our safety. The climate of our nation involves us dealing with leadership who have made decisions that literally sets us up in the nation for certain things to happen. As a result of us being subjected to the Obama-Biden-Harris cabal, and y'all can say right now, right? I just hear people, I can feel you thinking, well, we're dealing with Trump. That Obama not in there anymore. Biden not. Listen, the Obama-Biden-Harris cabal is still behind the scenes, in front of the scenes. The closer we get to November, you're going to see him front and center. Obama has already been involved. It's easy. Always been involved. Going on 18 years now, guys. He was a Trojan horse. Go on my Facebook page. Go down to the one that's been viewed 240,000 times. Trojan horse. It's all broken down. He and Michelle, wow. And I'm not lying. It's all based on facts. And it has affected our country. It's affected millions of Americans. And a lot of it is driven by emotionalism based on lies. Let's keep going. We have been subjected to the Obama-Biden-Harris cabal, and a lot is going to come out about Obama. Now, whether he gets held accountable, I don't know. I hope so. I certainly hope so, because facts are going to come out. Things have occurred in our nation where a Guatemalan national charged with beating, his 3-month-old daughter to the point that she lost her life in Virginia. Guys, this guy was admitted into the United States illegally under the Obama-Biden-Harris era border policies, according to DHS officials who are now demanding state cooperation to prevent his release back into American communities. Why would there even be any consideration of him being released back into any community? But guys, that is exactly what happened with a lot of people that were eventually picked up for unaliving our fellow Americans. That's exactly what happened. They don't want you to know that. They don't want us to talk about it. So, Misael Lopez Gomez, he's 28 years old. He was charged with second-degree murder after his infant daughter died from blunt force trauma in Fairfax County. DHS confirms that Lopez Gomez entered illegally through the New Mexico border in July 2023. During those surges, 10,000 a day in 2024. Whew. DHS confirmed that he was let in illegally. ICE lodged detainer urging Democrat Governor Spanberger to prevent release before federal custody. The case ignites debate over sanctuary policies and state-federal immigration enforcement cooperation. Sanctuary politicians and cities believed in releasing people back into communities. Guys, it's just like anything kind of goes, just okay, just let them back out. They were not watching people. This is how people got loose. Guys, the bottom line is that we have been dealing with preventable tragedy in our nation, which is linked to border failures as evidenced by what, Janice? This man, Lopez Gomez, entered the United States illegally through the New Mexico border. We have gone 11 straight months under the Trump administration with nobody being released into our country from the border. Mexico's president has taken care of that on her side of the border. Why? Because President Trump met with her and they came up with a plan. This man was admitted during a period of record border encounters under the Biden administration, policies that release hundreds of thousands of pending immigration hearings. They just let them in. Nearly 3 years later, on March 27th, 2026, Fairfax County Police responded to a call about an unresponsive 3-month-old girl in his care, Lopez Gomez, in his care. First responders performed CPR and rushed the little precious infant girl to a hospital where she later succumbed to her injuries with blunt force trauma injuries. Medical examiners ruled the unaliving a homicide, and Lopez Gomez was arrested and charged with second-degree murder and felony child abuse causing serious injury. Related to us dealing with irresponsible leadership, we find ourselves dealing with a federal-state standoff over ICE detainers. Following Lopez Gomez's arrest, now this is going on, he's not the only case. I'm framing something here. This is what we're dealing with in our nation. This is what President Trump is dealing with. And you got folk coming, he's coming against the brown people. He's racist. Stick with me. Get out of your emotions and listen to facts. Following Lopez Gomez's arrest, Immigration and Customs Enforcement lodged a detainer with Fairfax County authorities requesting notification before any release so federal agents could assume custody. DHS publicly urged Virginia Governor Spanberger, a Democrat elected in 2025, to honor the detainer. That's what DHS said. Governor, you need to honor the detainer and prevent Lopez Gomez from being released back into the community. This public intervention underscores escalating tensions between federal immigration enforcement and Democrat state leadership over cooperation with ICE detainers. Guys, this partial government shutdown that started I guess it was February 14th. It started in February of this year. It's all centered around this. Oh, wow. It's escalated tensions between federal immigration enforcement and Democrat state leadership over cooperation with ICE detainers. Fairfax County, a diverse Washington suburb with significant immigrant populations, has faced ongoing debates about sanctuary policies and the extent of local cooperation with federal immigration authorities. It's a lot going on in Virginia. And I know people right now, they want out. They are ticked off about what is being perpetrated upon them, the all gerrymandering, a lot of stuff. There's a lot. Guys, let's address patterns of immigration policy failures. This particular case mirrors a disturbing pattern of violent crimes committed by individuals admitted under lax border enforcement during the Biden years, the Obama-Biden, Harris cabal years. Conservative voices have pointed to similar tragedies. This is not the first one, including the 2024 murder of Laken Riley in Georgia by a Venezuelan illegal immigrant, as evidence that unvetted releases create preventable public safety risk. Lopez Gomez's confirmed illegal entry and subsequent charges validate long-standing concerns that border policies prioritizing mass admission over thorough vetting endangers American families. Guys, President Trump is not being racist or discriminatory. He's trying to keep us safe. And I thank God we've gone 11 straight months with no one being released into our nation. He shut this stuff down. DHS officials framed the case as emblematic, I like that term, emblematic, it's an emblem of risk from, DHS said it, emblematic of risk from the 2023 border surge that went into 2024, when overwhelmed agents processed and released immigrants with minimal background checks. Guys, I remember seeing this. I was like, this is ridiculous what they're doing. And Joe Biden, he just standing there looking lost, shaking hands with the air when he was in place. It's falling upstairs, going up the stairs on Air Force One, falling up the stairs, guys. While all of this kind of mess was going on from the pits of hell. Political pressure is now on Virginia Governor Spanberger. She now faces intense scrutiny over whether Virginia will comply with ICE detainers or potentially release Lopez Gomez on bail, risking flight or further harm. The decision carries significant political weight as the 2026 midterm elections approach. Guys, this is the stuff that we need to be talking about. And this is why we need to vote for conservative tickets, because they're safe. They have safety first and foremost. Not, well, we got to protect the brown people. Guys, they don't care anything about Americans. And they have really done a number on black Americans. I'm like, the black and the brown people, we all got to stick together, child, because Trump, he's racist. You kidding me? Are you kidding me? They don't care about you. They've moved on from black people. They've moved on from Americans. They've moved on to illegal immigrants, guys. A different voter bloc that they can control and manipulate. They don't want us to be empowered like the Trump accounts are going to do. They don't want, oh no. We were paying for the housing, health care, free money card, child daycare. food, education of illegal immigrants, while Americans suffered 79% were living paycheck to paycheck, barely making ends meet. In 2024, when the Obama, Biden, Harris cabal was bringing them in 10,000 in one day. Am I talking to anybody? If Virginia releases Lopez Gomez without federal transfer, in other words, letting ICE do their job, it could fuel Republican campaign narratives about Democratic governors prioritizing illegal immigrants over citizen safety. Guys, their policies show they don't care about safety. Come on, use basic logic and deductive reasoning. Local reporting initially described Lopez Gomez neutrally as a Virginia farmer. That's that lying in mainstream media. That's that lying, manipulative, propaganda-driven mainstream media, just like Hitler's minister of propaganda, Joseph Goebbels, used those radio receivers. The TV and the radio is that now, programming folk on how to think. Just today, a Virginia farmer, father, if he may have been a farmer, today a Virginia father. No, he was an illegal immigrant, omitting his immigration status until DHS publicly confirmed it, his illegal entry. And then he took his daughter's life. Good Lord, have mercy. Broader implications for immigration enforcement lies at the root of this. Has a lot of implications, guys. This tragedy, and there's so many more, Lake and Riley, so many more. I had a post I did, just pictures upon pictures of these illegal immigrants that have taken the lives of our fellow Americans. The tragedy exposes fundamental flaws in how sanctuary-leaning jurisdictions handle detainer requests, creating gaps that allow individuals with no legal right to remain in the country to evade consequences. This undermines both immigration law and public safety, guys, particularly when violent crimes against the most vulnerable, who are they? Infants and children. Infants and children result from what? Policy failures. These sanctuary cesspools think that they don't have to follow policies and laws. They come up with their own. ICE detainers serve as a critical tool for ensuring individuals subject to deportation reach federal custody rather than disappearing into communities. Virginia's response will signal whether Democrat-led states will continue resisting cooperation or adjust policies in light of high-profile tragedies for conservative Americans exhausted. We're just exhausted by government overreach that protects illegal immigrants at the expense of citizens. This case represents another infuriating example of misplaced priorities eroding the rule of law. Sanctuary city policies, which limit local law enforcement cooperation with federal immigration authorities, ICE, are argued to pose risk by allowing individuals with criminal records to remain in communities rather than facing deportation. Get them out of here. This potentially enables further crimes. Critics contend these policies undermine public safety, hinder effective law enforcement, and create unsafe environments for U.S. citizens. And the Pope has gotten right in the middle of this. Pope Leo has gotten right in the middle of this, and I'm going to dissect how they have taken what they did through Catholic charities. Oh yes, a lot of layers here, guys. I'm gonna get into that on some other reels that I'm gonna do there's a force that's driving him with what he was presenting related to the president. And it's all about illegal immigration, guys. It's about the immigrants, and it's a connection with some activities that have gone on with organizations. Guys, it is what it is. It just is what it is. And we're going to talk about these things because this affects our election. Now, there are some common arguments regarding the danger of sanctuary cities. Public safety risk. Critics argue that they allege that by ignoring ICE detainers, local authorities release illegal immigrants with criminal records back into communities. That's just what's going on, providing opportunities for them to reoffend. It has already happened. Then there's hindered law enforcement. What happens there? Policies that restrict communication with ICE can hinder the ability of federal agencies to apprehend and remove individuals deemed threats that everybody that can be honest, intellectually honest, can see. Then there's an encouragement of crime. And some people say, they're not encouraging crime. Well, listen to this. These policies create a haven for criminal organizations and individuals with criminal backgrounds who may evade detection and continue illicit operations. It's proven out. That's where they go and stay. Then there's the overall blatant disregard for federal law. Critics argue that these cities defy federal immigration statutes and weaken the rule of law as described by laws that are already in place. Then we have the dynamic of resource misallocation. Detractors argue that police resources are restricted by these policies and that they force local governments to prioritize shielding individuals over cooperating with federal law enforcement. What about our safety, guys? Our safety. Protecting national safety involves a comprehensive, multi-layered approach involving military defense, border security, intelligence gathering, and cyber defense to counter threats from foreign terrorists, criminal actors, and hostile states. Key efforts include securing the border, strengthening critical infrastructure, and ensuring economic security. What are the aspects of national security that some people seem to be totally in oblivion about? They just don't know. Total darkness. We've got military strength and defense, providing for the common defense, which ensures the military has the resources and training to deter if necessary. Win wars, ensuring national security. That's why I cringed when the Obama-Biden-Harris cabal left billions upon billions of dollars of our military equipment in the hands of terrorists in Afghanistan, only to have them paraded before the whole world in August of 2024. Do you remember that? Then we're talking about aspects of our national, all this ties in with our national security. If these people are running loose and sanctuary cities are providing a sanctuary for them or releasing them back out into the community, guys, it affects our national security. There's border security and immigration. Securing borders is a top priority. Thank God for 11 straight months. Nobody being released into our country. Often cited to stop illegal immigration and combat transnational gangs. We used to not have them in here, but we do now. Remember when they came from Venezuela and they'd taken over apartment buildings in Arizona? I remember that well. President Trump shut it down. Then there's Homeland Security and counterterrorism. The Department of Homeland Security protects against terrorism and manages risks to critical infrastructure. Guys, there's something called intelligence and emerging threats. Does somebody need to be paying attention to that? I bet you Donald John Trump is. That is comprised of these factors, a robust intelligence community, including the CIA and NSA, monitors global threats. Do we need anybody paying attention to that? Modern security requires defending against cyber attacks, protecting data, and countering weapons of mass destruction. Then we have something called economic and global security. Marco Rubio is straight in the middle of all of this, paying attention, doing an amazing job. Strengthening U.S. economic security involves, and President Trump is too, it's a part of what drives his whole agenda. Strengthening U.S. economic security involves enforcing trade laws, limiting the export of sensitive technology, and monitoring foreign investments. This also includes providing consular assistance for citizens abroad. So, is it important for us to have these departments funded? The Department of Defense, DOD, the Department of Homeland Security, the Department of Justice, the Department of State. These agencies, along with state and local partners, work to do what? Protect America's way of life, not enable illegal immigrants to do whatever the heck they want to do, including economic prosperity, free speech, and personal liberty. What have we looked at tonight, guys? Responsible leadership and protecting our safety. Guys, we've been all over the place. We've been all over the place. Our nation has been, it was run roughshod, the Obama, Biden, Harris cabal. Guys, if they get back in control, they're going to take us right back to that chaos. They're going to take us right back to that chaos. That's all they know. Historically, that's what they've done. So when I hear people talk about the party switch from what to what? From slavery to sharecropping to Jim Crow to lynching to running people down to what they're doing now, running people down. 42 people lost their lives through BLM rioting and all that. 3 that I know of have been held accountable. Then they found out that these so-called black organizations were giving money to the white supremacists to rile up the chaos. Do you hear me? Guys, we got to educate our fellow Americans about this. Eyes are opening up everywhere because they have taken advantage of us. Those up in Minneapolis, Minnesota, those Somalians, they had taken over. Ilhan Omar, now she's come out talking about, well, the $30 million that they're saying that I have, that was just an accounting error. No, baby. They got the receipts on your behind. And I pray that she is held accountable, and she's convicted, and she gets time. That's a loud message because she and Obama brought those Somalians in here, dropped them off up there in Minneapolis. As they did, they dropped them off COVID positive all over the country. Yes, they did. They didn't care. Well, a million Americans died. Why would they continue to bring people in that were COVID positive? Guys, switch from what to what? The parties switch. Switch from what to what? Wake up, my fellow Americans. Share this kind of information. Have conversations. Have my motto on social media is this, and I'll close with this. What would happen if we talk to and with each other versus at each other? Maybe we will end up using basic logic and deductive reasoning and come to logical conclusions and get intellectually honest and say, you know what? I am not voting for the people that are pushing that. So don't vote Democrat. See, it's all about policies. So if the Democrats have policies that embolden us and have prosperity and all that, vote for them. But they don't. Just got to call a spade a spade. They're something else. And they want their power back. You know why? Because their gravy trains are gone. That's what's going on. The gravy train is gone. Trump stopped the fraudulent scams and money laundering fronts. Of course they're going to try to make him look like a buffoon and a fool. All of this ties in with the irresponsible leadership. Why was it so irresponsible? They wanted to keep covering up they wanted to keep thrusting upon us and milking us dry, getting over on us like a fat rat with their fraudulent scams and money laundering fronts. President Trump has stopped it all. Can you see why they try to make him look like a fool? And on the news, lie, 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 lie. Guys, we're going to keep dissecting these things. Listen, thank you for coming tonight. We're going to keep talking about these things. This is an amazing nation. We are one nation under God, indivisible with liberty and justice for all, forming a more perfect union, which simply means us flowing together as one. Can you see why they try to keep us in a tailspin? They don't want us flowing together as one, but boy, a lot of us get it. And we're going to keep talking about these things as we continue to go from destruction to dignity, clinical perspectives, spiritual truths, clinical perspectives, strategies, skills, tools, a way of thinking, wholeness, wellness, loving each other, supporting each other, encouraging each other towards those types of things. From destruction to dignity, clinical perspectives, spiritual truths. Guys, the devil's a liar, and he has lied to us and has pushed us around, even perpetrating death. We don't want to have anything to do with it. We choose life, and we choose life more abundantly. I will see you guys. I love this. See you next week. Good night.
Thanks for listening to this week's episode of From Destruction to Dignity with Janice Pons. Janice's mission is to provoke thought, bring awareness, and point people towards intervention when needed. As a reminder, this show is not therapy, but for educational purposes only. For more information, check out JanicePons.com or follow her on social media.
We are one power, strength is ours, liberty, been set free, education, affirmation, dedication, information.